All right, today we're going to pop the hood on Salesforce. We're going straight into the engine room to really understand the core concepts that make this whole powerful platform run.
I mean, have you ever really stopped to think about it? How does this one platform manage to handle sales and service and marketing all at the same time so seamlessly?
Well, the answer isn't some kind of magic trick. It's all about mechanics. I want you to think of Salesforce as this high-performance engine, filled with all these powerful, interconnected parts that need a skilled operator, an admin, to keep it all humming along perfectly.
And guess what? We're about to hand you the keys. We're going to walk through the fundamental pillars that every single Salesforce admin has to master to really take control of that engine. So, let's get started.
Okay, our first stop, and this is absolutely non-negotiable, is the foundation of any healthy Salesforce organization: data management. Because let's be honest, without clean, well-structured data, the whole engine just starts to sputter and fail.
So, getting data into the system, that's step one, right? And you've basically got two main tools for the job. For the smaller stuff, up to 50,000 records, the Data Import Wizard is your go-to. It's user-friendly, it's built right in, and it even helps you stop duplicates from getting in. But for the really heavy lifting, you're going to need the data loader.
And when I say heavy lifting, I am not kidding. The data loader can handle up to 5 million records in a single shot. This is not for your everyday list upload. This is the industrial strength tool you break out for massive data migrations or really complex integrations.
Okay, but wait. If you're pumping that much data in, it brings up a huge question, right? How do you keep bad fuel out of the engine? How do you make sure the data quality stays high when you're dealing with that kind of scale?
Well, that's where validation rules come into play. They are your absolute first line of defense. Just think of them as these little gatekeepers that check every single piece of data before it gets saved. If a record doesn't meet the standard you've set, like, say, a phone number is in the wrong format, bam, the rule stops the save and tells the user exactly what they need to fix.
Now, you really want to pay attention to this slide, because these are the gotchas that every admin needs to know. For instance, knowing that validation rules run first is huge. It means they're your most reliable gatekeeper, catching bad data before any other automation even has a chance to see it. But that little detail about them not applying to quick create, that's a potential backdoor for messy data you've got to account for. Understanding these little quirks is what makes a great admin.
All right, so your data is valid, but is it unique? That's the next challenge. Salesforce has this really smart two-part system to handle it. First, you've got matching rules, which basically define what looks like a duplicate to the system. Then you have duplicate rules, which decide what to do about it. You can either block the new record from being created at all, or just allow it and flag it for someone to review later.
So what happens when someone messes up and deletes something they shouldn't have? Well, you've got a safety net, but man, it's a tight one. The recycle bin will hold on to those deleted records for just 15 days. After that, they are gone for good. The message here is pretty simple. If you need to get something back, you better move fast.
So our data is clean, it's managed. Now we can start building the actual framework, the part that controls who gets to see what and what they can do with it. This is really the heart and soul of Salesforce security.
The way Salesforce does security is honestly brilliant. It's all layered, and it starts with this idea of least privilege. Basically, you start by locking everything down for everyone. That's your org-wide defaults. From there, you start carefully opening things up. The role hierarchy opens up access vertically, so managers can see their team's data. Then, sharing rules are like windows, opening up access horizontally so different teams can collaborate. And finally, you have permission sets. Think of these as special keys you can hand out to specific users to give them extra access without having to change their entire profile. So, our data is clean, it's secure. Now for the fun part, customization. This is where a great admin stops being just a mechanic and becomes more like a custom tuner, fine-tuning the engine for different drivers and tailoring the whole experience for what each team really needs. And this is usually done with this really powerful three-step chain. Let's imagine you have two completely different sales teams, say an enterprise team and a small business team. You'd start by defining a unique business process for each one, with all the stages of their sales cycle. Then, you link that process to a record type, which also lets you control what options they see in drop-down menus. So the enterprise team might have a legal review stage that the other team never even sees. And finally, you assign a custom page layout to that record type, making sure each team only sees the fields that are actually relevant to them.
All right, the engine is tuned up and ready to go. Now, let's put it to work.
This is all about automation, and it's where a really well-run Salesforce org starts to feel like magic, turning all those tedious manual tasks into efficient, repeatable processes.
And there's no better example of this than the lead process. So what's a lead? It's really simple. It's just a prospect, someone who raised their hand and showed some interest in what you're doing. They're that first spark that gets the whole sales engine fired up.
The whole lead lifecycle is just a perfect showcase for automation. Think about it. A lead comes in from a form on your website. Instantly, an assignment rule kicks in and routes it to the right sales rep based on their territory or whatever rules you set up. Nobody has to touch a thing. Then, when that lead is qualified, the conversion process automatically creates the account, the contact, and the opportunity you need to take that deal forward. It's a totally seamless handoff.
And speaking of those opportunities, what about when a deal is a team effort? Salesforce can even automate how you slice up the credit. Opportunity splits let you divide the revenue from one single deal across multiple team members, making sure everyone who played a part gets the recognition they deserve.
Okay, so this brings us to the real payoff. Why do we do all this work? The data management, the security, the customization, the automation, it all leads to this one thing, turning all that raw data into actual, usable business intelligence that helps you make smart decisions. It all starts with reports, and you've got 4 main types in your toolbox. Think of tabular as just your basic list, like a simple spreadsheet. Summary reports are where things get interesting, letting you group your data and get subtotals, like sales per rep. Matrix reports are like pivot tables. You can group by both rows and columns. And then joined reports are a special tool that lets you pull different, even unrelated blocks of information into a single view.
But look, reports are just the raw numbers, right? The real magic happens when you bring them to life on a dashboard. A dashboard is that visual, at-a-glance view of your most important metrics, pulling from all those different reports into one place with up to 20 components like charts and gauges. It stops being just a report and becomes the cockpit for your business.
So, when you put it all together, what's the big takeaway? A well-run Salesforce org isn't just some database sitting in the cloud. It's a dynamic, powerful engine that, when it's tuned correctly by a skilled admin, drives real insight and fuels actual, sustainable growth.
So we've walked you through the engine room. We've handed you the keys. Now the only real question left is, what incredible machine are you going to build first?